The Winklevoss Bitcoin ETF appears to be dead, at least for now, but there are others ETFs that are still waiting out there. Just last week, Bitwise Asset Management filed a registration statement for a publicly offered cryptocurrency index ETF that will not just track Bitcoin, it'll track an index of the 10 largest cryptocurrencies. This marks the first time ever an application for a crypto index ETF was put in. Earlier last week, the SEC postponed making a decision on 5 other Bitcoin ETFs. These were all by Direxion, which would make various bullish and bearish bets on Bitcoin. Those ETFs were filed way back in January. Now, there's a pattern emerging here that's very obvious. The SEC delays a decision as long as possible and then turns them down, to be blunt about it. They normally have 180 days after filing to make a decision, but they can take up to 60 days more. And that's what they did with Direxion. And now they're expected to make a decision on these by September. Remember last month, too, the CBOE submitted a joint Bitcoin ETF proposal by VanEck and SolidX for a Bitcoin ETF, but with some very unusual characteristics, including a $200,000 price tag to indicate it was for institutional investors and an insurance component to protect investors against theft. The problem is it's not clear if this unusual application will still satisfy the SEC. Remember, they rejected the Winklevoss application on the grounds that most of the trading occurs outside the country on unregulated exchanges that are subject to fraud and manipulation. This is a simple issue now. How can another Bitcoin ETF applicant come in and say they won't have a similar problem? This is a very, very high barrier to entry the SEC has erected. While Bitcoin rebounded on Friday, by the way, it's still trading below where it was prior to the SEC's announcement on Thursday. Brian, back to you.
Bob Pisani, good to see you as well. BK, what do you think?
Well, I think Bob's spot on. I mean, the issue that the SEC has right now is we don't have a regulated U.S. exchange. And I think we have that, then the odds of an ETF getting approved are better for 2019. I think given the current state of the market, the odds of approving something in 2018, very low.
All right. For more on this, let's bring in the co-founder and CEO of Bitwise Asset Management, Hunter Horsley. He just filed for an SEC-regulated crypto ETF that looks to change the SEC's mind by being more diversified. Hunter, welcome. Okay, so listen, you're looking to do where no man has gone before. I mean, why do you think that your model, your ETF, should get SEC approval? Sell it right now.
Yeah. So last week, we made the first S1 filing for the first ever index basket ETF. We actually introduced a private index fund last year that we've been operating since then. And in our experience operating the vehicle, dealing with the questions around custody, dealing with all the trading partners, striking the NAV daily, audits, tax, hard forks, airdrops, all of those complexities, we feel that it is possible to effectively operate an index vehicle. We like the index strategy. Our clients like the index strategy because many of them have an investment view that's not specific to one coin. They think that something promising could come out of public blockchains. A cryptocurrency may emerge and be something really valuable. And an index is a way of capturing that. I think a lot of the focal point around public registered products, ETFs, has been on Bitcoin because there's a narrative that Bitcoin is the digital gold, and we saw the gold ETF come to market first in 2004, and then commodity index came in 2006.
You feel like the SEC understands the crypto industry?
Yes, yeah. So I think for many of the people in the space, I'm sure that BK feels this way. The SEC over the last 2 years has demonstrated, I think, a great understanding of the space, a strong open-mindedness, and BK can of course speak for himself, a strong open-mindedness about the space, but I think they're being cautious, and that's their job, and that's what we would hope they would do. And even just this year in the ICO markets, they've been doing enforcement, trying to clean up the space, and so I don't think that they'll be in a rush to approve an ETF. We're excited to talk to them about our experience running a vehicle. But this is what you would expect from them.
So I'm curious about your vehicle, how it might be different. I mean, I understand the index approach, but in terms of the SEC's view, you have an index, but in there you also have some privacy coins, which other countries like Japan have said, you know what, we don't want our exchanges trading this. How is that mix going to be received by the SEC?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and we look forward to chatting with them about that. I think from our perspective, the things that Dahlia mentioned in her January letter, the issues around an ETF, custody, liquidity, market manipulation, they're similar for most of the large cap assets. So once you get comfortable with what it takes to do that effectively in crypto, our feeling is that you can do that for many different coins. But again, that there's merit to an index approach. I think there's a lot of discussion around privacy coins, as you mentioned. Yeah.
So, but how do you come up with those weightings? Leaving,
Yeah.
Brian's talking about what instruments might be actually more